A Shop for Killers Season 2 Episode 4 is easily the most action-packed chapter of the season so far. Almost every storyline collides as Jin-man fights for survival. Babylon's deadly operation begins falling apart from within, and Jin discovers that escaping her past will never be as simple as leaving Hannamdu behind. By the end of the episode, Bale's fate is finally revealed. Kusenagi sacrifices her own people to protect Babylon, Woo-jin is critically wounded, and Jin-man makes a spectacular return just when all hope appears lost. The episode opens by shifting the focus back to Jin-man. After learning that the Chinese gangster Yang is hunting Jin-man prepares to rescue his niece himself before anyone else reaches her. However, events quickly spiral out of control. Before Jin-man can leave, several vehicles surround the shipping yard where he and his allies are hiding. The attackers are led by Jay and his assassination team. Their orders are very specific. Jin-man must be captured alive. That single instruction immediately creates tension because not everyone involved shares the same objective. Bale makes it perfectly clear that he has no interest in following anyone else's rules. He warns Jay not to interfere with him. If anyone stands in his way, they will die first. Ironically, because of a translation mistake, Jay never fully understands Bale's threat. The misunderstanding quietly plants the seeds for the betrayal that follows later. A brief flashback then provides important context. Before the mission, Kusenagi privately instructed Jay to recover their valuable asset. She deliberately placed him in charge because she believes he can remain calm under pressure. She also predicts that Q's emotions could become a weakness during the operation. The scene reveals how carefully Kusenagi manipulates every member of Babylon. She does not simply assign missions. She constantly calculates how different personalities will react under extreme circumstances. Back in the present, the battle inside the shipping yard quickly becomes chaotic. Cheol-sung launches a series of surprise attacks that separate the invading assassins into smaller groups. Meanwhile, another important revelation changes how viewers see the story. Q and J are not merely teammates. They are brother and sister. That family connection immediately adds emotional weight to every decision they make during the operation. It also explains why Q appears unusually concerned about J despite her normally cold personality. The battle reaches another level when the assassins enter what appears to be an empty shipping container. Cheol-sung traps them inside by throwing a grenade through the entrance before sealing the doors. With no route back, the team is forced deeper into the maze of containers. Eventually, J comes face to face with Jin-man. The long-awaited confrontation does not disappoint. Jin-man clearly demonstrates why he has earned such a legendary reputation. Despite Jay's impressive abilities, Jin-man steadily gains the upper hand. Before he can finish the fight, Bale suddenly enters the battlefield. Ignoring every instruction he received, Bale immediately opens fire on Jin-man. The interruption allows Jin-man to escape. Jay attempts to stop Bale and reminds him that their mission requires Jin-man alive. Bale responds without hesitation. He drives a knife directly into Jay's throat. Earlier, Bale warned everyone not to stand in his way. Now he proves he meant every word. The murder also confirms that Bale serves only his own interests. Loyalty means nothing to him. His obsession with killing Jin-man overrides every other objective. The pursuit continues as Jin-man escapes inside a shipping container suspended beneath a crane. Cheol-sung begins moving the container toward an escape truck. Bale makes an incredible leap, landing inside moments before the doors close. What follows becomes one of the episode's most creative action sequences. Inside the completely dark container, Jin-man activates a remote control and seals the doors. With no light whatsoever, ordinary combat becomes almost impossible. Fortunately, Jin-man has prepared for exactly this situation. He equips himself with night vision goggles and immediately gains the advantage. For several moments, Bale struggles against an opponent he cannot even see. Then the momentum shifts. Bale manages to remove Jin-man's goggles and places them on his own head. For a brief second, it appears the advantage has changed sides. Jin-man calmly reveals he planned even this possibility. Using another remote control, he detonates explosives hidden inside the night vision goggles. The explosion tears through the left side of Bale's head. Badly wounded and barely conscious, Bale collapses. Jin-man then fires several more shots into him to ensure he cannot continue fighting. Although the episode strongly suggests Bale has finally been defeated, the series deliberately avoids providing absolute confirmation. Given Bale's reputation for surviving impossible situations, viewers are left questioning whether this truly marks the end of one of the season's most dangerous assassins. While Jin-man escapes, Babylon begins collapsing from internal betrayal. At headquarters, Kusenagi realizes the mission has completely failed. Rather than accepting responsibility, she immediately begins covering her tracks. She checks whether surveillance cameras recorded the evening's events. Learning they did not, she quietly prepares another ruthless decision. Before leaving, she orders one of her trusted operatives to destroy the bus transporting Babylon employees back home. The horrifying order includes innocent staff members and even the unsuspecting bus driver. Their only mistake is knowing too much. Earlier, Kusenagi also instructed everyone to report that Jin-man killed Jay. The truth that Bale murdered him must never become public. The moment perfectly demonstrates Kusenagi's leadership style. Failure is never acknowledged. Evidence is simply erased. Anyone who threatens the organization's version of events immediately becomes disposable. Meanwhile, events on Hannam-do take a more emotional direction. Kim Jae-won arrives disguised as part of a cleaning crew to quietly remove Jian from the island before Babylon reaches her. Woo-jin struggles to accept the sudden goodbye. Unable even to meet Jian's eyes, he quietly promises to wait for her. His heartbreak becomes even more painful because neither of them truly wants to leave. Jian also reflects on everything she has experienced during her short time on the island. The neighboring women have prepared food for her with genuine affection. For perhaps the first time since childhood, she has experienced something resembling an ordinary family life. She sadly admits that living alongside Jin-man never allowed her to experience simple happiness like this. Before leaving, she asks everyone to share one final proper meal together. It becomes a brief moment of peace before absolute chaos erupts. At the harbor, Woo-jin notices something deeply unsettling. The lighthouse suddenly goes dark. Moments later, a massive ship approaches the island. Standing aboard is Q. Instantly recognizing the danger, Woo-jin rushes back to warn Jian. Babylon's assault begins almost immediately. Explosive drones attack the remaining members of the cleaning crew, while Q leads the invasion personally. Min-hye and Kim Jae-won stay behind to delay the attackers, allowing Jian and Woo-jin to escape through a hidden route toward the docks. The action sequence that follows showcases exactly why Q has become one of the season's most dangerous villains. Using drones, explosives, sniper support, and relentless pursuit, she forces Jian into a desperate escape. Even Min-hye and Kim Jae-won struggle to slow her advance. At the docks, disaster strikes. Q destroys the boat Jian planned to use for her escape. Woo-jin's tractor overturns during the attack. Completely cornered, Jian appears to have no options remaining. Then Min-hye suddenly arrives and knocks Q unconscious. The temporary victory allows everyone to escape aboard Woo-jin's fishing boat. It is only a short reprieve. Refusing to surrender, Q races her motorcycle toward the harbor, launches herself from the pier, and lands directly on the moving boat. The sequence is one of the episode's most spectacular moments. Another brutal hand-to-hand fight begins between Q and Min-hye. Neither woman gains a decisive advantage. Finally, Jin intervenes by firing a flare gun directly at Q. The impact knocks her overboard and into the sea. Even then, the danger is far from over. Before falling, Q sends a message to additional Babylon forces waiting offshore. Within moments, 2 attack boats close in. Explosives tear into Woo-jin's vessel while bullets rain across the deck. During the assault, Woo-jin is shot. As Jin desperately searches for medical supplies, she realizes there is nothing available to save him. Losing more blood with every passing second, Woo-jin quietly thanks her for spending time with him. Then he loses consciousness. For Jin, the emotional pain becomes overwhelming. Throughout the season, she has slowly allowed herself to trust someone again. Now it appears she is about to lose him. In complete desperation, she remembers something Jin-man taught her when she was a child. If she is ever truly in danger, she should call his name 3 times. With tears streaming down her face, Jin shouts for Jin-man again and again. The ending then delivers the moment viewers have been waiting for all season. Almost immediately, a helicopter appears overhead. Jin-man has come. Without hesitation, he destroys the attacking boats and finally reaches Jin. The timing almost feels supernatural, but emotionally it represents something much deeper. No matter how dangerous the situation becomes, Jin-man always intended to return for his niece. The episode ends with the promise that Jin no longer has to fight Babylon alone. Overall, A Shop for Killers Season 2 Episode 4 raises the stakes dramatically. Jin-man eliminates what appears to be his deadliest opponent. Babylon begins turning against its own members. Q proves herself to be one of the franchise's most relentless assassins, and Jin's peaceful life on Hannam-do comes to a heartbreaking end. The final helicopter rescue completely changes the direction of the season. With Jin-man finally back beside Jin, the war against Babylon is no longer about survival alone. It is about taking the fight directly to the organization that has spent years hunting them both.